Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our CIM for Programs demonstration. This is going to be an overview of the second part of our overview for our curriculum management system that we are going to be deploying in a few weeks. I'm so excited that you've joined us, especially since we had to change the date because of the college closing. But welcome, and I do want to let you know that this session is being recorded, so if there's something you need to come back to revisit, you can go ahead and do that. It will be available in this chat, and if you want to forward this to someone else, please feel free to do so. But thank you. I'm Karen Parker, Associate Vice President of Curriculum Services, and this project is being led by my area, the Curriculum Management System, which we call CIM, C-I-M, CIM. And today we have with us Shari Friedman, who is from Courseleaf, that is the vendor. Hi, Shari. And she has over 30 years of experience with helping institutions find their solutions to business processing problems. And Shari's been with Courseleaf, or rather Leepfrog. Leepfrog is the company. Courseleaf is our particular product, and she'll explain more about that. But Shari has been with Leepfrog since 2012. So she started out as a senior account executive on the sales and marketing team. We met Shari at that time, so she'll tell us more about that. But we've been talking to Shari since about, 2014? And we finally are here with her. And then in 2021, she repositioned herself as a senior manager on the client success team. And her new position increases the level of service and support delivered to all clients. And she has been giving us amazing and top level support as we've been implementing our catalog. And as we implemented the catalog, and as we're starting to implement our curriculum management system. Shari also holds a bachelor's of science in administrative office management from the College of New Jersey. So I share all that with you to let you know that we're talking to someone who has extensive experience in the realm we're going to be talking with, and that we are very pleased to have her with us today. So Shari is going to give us an overview of curriculum management programs. We're not going to get into the nitty-gritty today. That is what our training is for and our workshop. So please make sure you visit our website, our Broward Connect website, Curriculum Services, to sign up for our workshop so we can dig deeper in it. My team and I will be available to answer questions in the chat. So as you go along, please post your questions there and we'll try to answer them in the chat. And if we can't answer them in the chat, when Shari's complete, we'll go ahead and answer those questions live. So without further ado, I welcome you, Shari, to take it away.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Karen. Hi, everyone. I'm going to put myself, the camera off just to make sure we don't have connectivity issues, but I just wanted to say hello and welcome you to, as Karen pointed out, an overview of CIM. Our hope at the ending of this session, you're as excited as the curriculum services team is about rolling this out to your campus to really just transform the way curriculum development happens at Broward. Karen, thank you so much for blocking some time so I could meet with your team. Our partnership with Broward has really been top-notch, great ideas shared, and what you'll find is the solution that the curriculum services folks have worked on really took a lot of very thoughtful, intentional collaboration with us to really meet the needs of Broward. For today, I am going to start out with a PowerPoint. And for those of you who participated in the first session, some of this might be a little bit of a reminder, but for the recording, we're going to keep it back to basics, if you will. So for today, we'll touch a little bit about the partnership that we've had with your institution. We'll first talk about the phase one, which was the success of the catalog, the online catalog. And then we'll spend most of the time today focusing on what we refer to as the phase 2, and also the part 2 of phase 2, which will focus on programs and degrees. There's a recording available for that part 1 on courses. And Karen and her team will monitor questions, and we'll get to those when we conclude. For those who don't know who we are a tech company with an awful lot of experience. We have 150 staff members. Believe it or not, way back when, in 2012, I was employee number 14. So you can see we've grown significantly. We serve over 500 clients now, really across the globe in 8 countries. We work with very small, teeny tiny schools, all the way up to very large, complex, even system schools throughout the state in varying degrees of complexity. And we have an awful lot of experience with implementations, over 850 right now. As a result, we turned into a 24/7 shop. So you can talk to a live person around the clock. And we have a robust user community that's online, as well as opportunities to engage with us throughout the year. We'll talk a little bit about Courseleaf. So as Karen mentioned, our company name is Leepfrog. Our solution is called Courseleaf, and it's really comprised of what we refer to as individual modules. CIM, which is what we'll talk about today, focuses on curriculum development. Catalog, which has already been implemented and live and received on campus, is the efforts to publish the academic catalog. Class aids in figuring out what sections to offer so students have access to the classes they need to succeed. Path focuses on everything that has to do with registration, and SIL focuses on the syllabi creation and management. Now, each of these modules can be implemented independent of one another. Broward implemented CAT first, and now we're moving into CIM. What happens when you increase the number of modules is that there are some other benefits that come along with that. The interfaces that we use across the modules are the same, so learning one module to the next becomes easier. You gain quite a bit of efficiencies, accuracies, and some integration, and we'll talk a little bit about those as we get through the presentation here today. Many of you have already seen the great job of the transformation of the online catalog into an accessible, completely BA compliant, really efficient tool, searchable on not only the web, but mobile devices, as well as PDF formats. What's nice when you think about the whole exploration as it relates to what Broward has to offer, there are some key features and functionality to potentially explore the degrees that you have. And then once you identify areas that might be of interest, there are different ways to think about how you may want to progress at Broward. Information about course detail is also populated. So students have an authoritative, easy to access resource in the academic catalog. Prospective students have an opportunity to explore and see all the offerings that Broward has to have. And then those involved in advising students also have a really powerful tool because this whole process has been brought online into one main repository for managing and publishing for future years. And that idea is quite similar with the transformation of the curriculum development process. I often joke about this, but I always say that curriculum development is really hard work. So those of you on the line, I know it's very hard. It's mission critical, and it's very important to make sure that courses and certificates and degrees really stay relevant for the time, because it impacts not only student enrollment, but even student academic progress. One of the jokes that I often say is when I graduated in 1984, a degree that had the word forensic in it didn't exist. A degree or certificate that had the word cybersecurity in it didn't exist. So this is a very important aspect of what brings students to Broward. And so we'll talk about some of the key user features that will make this complicated and hard work much easier for all of you. And for those who participated in this session for courses, the Broward Curriculum Services team really did a great job in collaborating with us on what your process looks like today, and coming up with great ideas on how to transform that process like we did for the catalog into an online, intuitive, easier process to make this, hard job much easier. And we'll talk more when we get to the live software, but 3 kind of key features that really help in this management of how you create proposals and how you submit them and get them approved and get them advertised on campus. We'll just touch upon 3 features. One is this idea of bringing the whole process online and pre-populating that form as a starting point with information that we already know about all your degrees. Keep in mind, we did the catalog project, so we know all the information that you're currently publishing about those degrees. Next, we want to talk about this idea of an intelligent workflow. And what that means is Courseleaf CIM is very configurable to accommodate all the different types of governance steps required to approve different proposals. Changing a proposal might have one particular path for approval, or creating a brand new program might take a different path, or a 5-year review might take a different path. And then those involved in the workflow may vary and their role might vary. So this idea of intelligent workflow means that when you're creating a proposal, you don't have to think about how this is going to get routed to the right people. Kim's going to help facilitate that process for you and do it automatically. Lastly, we'll talk about this idea of advanced integration with curriculum, your student information system, and then simplifying how the catalog gets updated for the catalog publishing cycle. Now, let's talk a little bit from a high level of how we connect, from a visual view, curriculum and the programs and degrees with the catalog publishing process. This is the same visual that I shared previously, but our focus today will be on the programs. Think about making a change to an existing certificate or creating a brand new program. That would automatically kick off the correct workflow, so those involved that need to weigh in are able to do so easily and online. And then once the proposal is approved, everything is tied into when it's going to be effective. What's the effective term? What's the effective edition of the catalog? So if a proposer was making a change to an existing program, we already know that that program exists in the catalog, and we have it set up as an integration point. So once the proposal, that change proposal is approved, then that is shared with the correct edition of your next catalog. And what that does is it eliminates the need for duplicate effort in taking what's approved in the curriculum process and then adding it into the catalog. It also ensures that what you're publishing in the catalog remains accurate. For new proposals that go through governance, your Courseleaf administrators will facilitate making a space, if you will, in the catalog. So if it's a new business program, that it lives in the appropriate place in the catalog. And then those involved with editing will continue to do so. But having CIM programs integrated with the catalog saves time and improves efficiency. This process is similar with programs in the first video, but courses feed in from the approval process into the student information system and then shared with the catalog, again, to improve efficiency and accuracy. Now, when we think about software, our goal here is to make sure we understand what your business process looks like and really transform the business process so that it's easier for those involved with curriculum development. And then in turn, we know that that often drives positive outcomes for your campus, which is also, a main priority for all the institutions that we work with. I'm going to shift now and go into the demonstration for the software. And my hope is that those on the line are feeling very positive and excited about the possibilities of getting their hands on CIM, signing up for the workshop, and then learning how to take full advantage of this tool to transform the way curriculum development is conducted on campus today. Here we are at what we call our program management dashboard. This is the place, it's a central repository where all of your existing programs are going to be loaded. Right at your fingertips, you'll be able to search for a program that exists. You can edit or make a change to an existing program. You could add a brand new one, or you could delete or deactivate a program. It's all right at your fingertips. You'll also notice that there are colorful buttons here that tell us that we can do some actions. We could search, and searching, you could type in something like test and use a wildcard, or you can use accounting and a wildcard, and it will pull in all of the programs fitting that particular criteria. You'll also notice that as I scroll down, I'm looking at my test example, Accounting Technologies, Associate of Science. You'll notice that to the right, I have the ability to edit the program. I could delete it. If I wanted to, I could preview the workflow just to see what the different steps in the approval process might be to make a change for that. But right at my fingertips, you'll notice that it's pre-populated with information that Courseleaf already knows about this program. So your starting point is you don't have to do any cut and paste to get to the current state of a particular degree. To make a change, all I would need to do is click on this edit button. And in doing so, this now brings up the online version of the proposal form to make a change. At glance, you'll see that there are red boxes around certain questions here. That indicates that those fields are required, which encourages all users to fill out all the necessary pieces of information at one time before you submit them. And if by chance, if you forgot to fill out, the rationale for this request, we'll give you a reminder to say, wait a second, go back and fill in this request. To make it easier for completion, you'll see certain themes, drop-down windows, you'll have text boxes, and the form is designed to prompt you to answer questions. And when in doubt, there are these helpful bubbles here that can give you some guidance. So under methods of delivery, you may wonder, should I be selecting one or should I be selecting all that apply? So there's also very helpful tips on how to navigate through the proposal to complete it as easily as possible. If I wanted to perhaps to make a change to maybe the required courses, there are some tools that you'll learn about during training that will allow you to go in and make a really quick list of courses that you may need to include. By clicking OK here, what you'll also notice is we talked a lot about integration. We're going to pre-populate this little picking screen with all of the courses that are valid for selection to make it very easy to select the courses that you'd like to add to that list. And there'll be some additional instruction during the actual training on that. But you'll notice there's information already here about electives. And then when I'm done filling out the proposal, what you'll notice is I'm able to attach files, and I could save it, or I could save it and kick it into workflow. This is the process that a user would now go through to find an existing program, bring it online, make the changes, and submit it into workflow, and then you're done. What's nice also is that this central dashboard is going to keep track of what's happening with your proposals. You'll notice that under Test 3, the Criminal Justice Associates of Science, you can see that this proposal is sitting at a curriculum services step because it's in an editing process. So if by chance I was the proposer of Test 1, Accounting Technology, and I wanted to find out, how is this getting approved in the curriculum review process, I don't have to contact anyone or email anyone. I would simply come to the centralized dashboard and I'd click in this proposal, and I would be able to view exactly where it is in the process. So I'm going to now show you what that looks like in two different examples. We're going to go over to Test 3 here, which is criminal justice. And let's pretend I had submitted that proposal and I wanted to check on it to see how it was progressing. Similar to the editing engine throughout all of our modules, we utilize this idea of red and green markup to clearly show what's been added and what's deleted. So you'll see in this green area, that's been added, and you can see what has been changed in the red strikeout. You'll also notice on the right-hand side, clearly indicating the steps that have already been approved in the workflow process and where this particular proposal currently resides. Now, you'll also see what are the remaining 2 steps in that workflow process as well. The idea of understanding where things are at is really extremely helpful. You'll also notice is as I scroll through this proposal, you'll see what's been added and what's been deleted to make the review process very easy. Another example would be your Engineering Technology Associates of Science. By clicking on this proposal, I now see the current state of this proposal, which is sitting at the first step in the workflow process. As I scroll down, you could also see that this changed from traditional face-to-face to hybrid blending. So from this main dashboard, you can see all of your programs that are in the queue, what we refer to as at rest, and then you have the opportunity to search, edit, add a new program, and I'll show you that in just a moment, as well as delete. To add a new program or to perhaps search for a specific subset of programs, I could say just, show me the programs that have been edited, and it would give you a filter there. So there are different ways to utilize the search with or without the asterisk, as well as the filter. When we say propose a new program, this is starting from zero. You'll notice that, again, there are fields that are required, but what you'll also see now is how we will aid in the pre-populating of information. I'm hoping all of you saw how we preloaded the business once we selected accounting. And then under the degree type, we also show the types of degrees that are appropriate for this specific department. Again, making it easier, making it online to track. Again, you have the help bubbles along the way. The proposal will prompt you into answering all the questions that are necessary, following your governance process. Things that have to do with what's required to enter the program, or courses, or how to build the program, the course list, or electives. And then again, at the bottom, you'll be instructed on how to build out those learning outcomes as well. And then just like the change request, there'll be an opportunity to attach any supporting documentation, and you'll either save it and come back to it, or you'll save it and start workflow. Now, what happens when you kick off the workflow? We talked a lot about how there are different steps in the process to meet the governance process from Broward. And we utilize something that we call workflow steps and roles. And everyone might have a particular role in the individual step in the workflow process. These are the steps, but curriculum services is a role, and there might be one person provisioned in that, or there might be more than one person provisioned in that. When a proposal gets kicked into workflow, what's required in terms of a governance process is assessed. And what's super helpful is that whoever is next in that workflow step will get an email notification with a link that says, oh, this is something that needs your attention. Everything rolls up into what we refer to as this approval queue. And depending upon your role, there might be courses in here, there might be programs in here. You have an opportunity to review what's in your queue. So it's all automated. You click on the link, you get to the approval queue. I could say, show me the engineering technology program change request. And what you'll see here, again, as I showed, everything is clear in red and green markup. And now, if I am at this step in the workflow process, I have a couple of things that I can do. I can hide all of my changes, which will remove that red and green markup, and we'll look at everything, just as it is. If there were multiple steps in this workflow process, if we were further along, you could see who made what change at any step. And then over on the right-hand side here, we have your three actions. I could edit, and this will bring up the online form that I demonstrated previously, that form. Or I could roll it back to a previous step in the workflow and give it a reason why. Or I could approve it, and it would then immediately send an email notification to the IMC dean with a link again. And then you would see, in terms of the role, the IMC dean link here, which will keep the workflow and approval process automated and ensuring that all the right parties are involved in the process moving forward. Now, keep in mind, in workflow, there are a variety of different ways in which users can be provisioned to act. We have what we refer to as those that can edit. In some cases, we just want you to approve only. Within your CIM courses, the Broward team took advantage of one of our voting tools and technology. And in some cases, Users may just get an FYI notification, because the idea behind CIM is to create this transparent and collaborative tool so that if you need to collaborate across departments, all the right people are well informed of proposals and have the ability to do so along the way. Now, what I've shared so far really focuses on a couple of themes that I'm just going to go back to. This idea of having a central repository that's transparent for provisioned users of what is the current state of all of your programs, your degrees, your certificates, along with what is in the process of being potentially changed or deleted. Then you have the ability to either edit, approve, or roll back if you're involved in the process. And all of the screens for those involved in workflow roll up to this nice queue that clearly gives you an idea of what your next steps are in terms of keeping curriculum development moving throughout the cycle that you're working on. And in many cases, it will also streamline it so that chances are approvals can happen sooner, which means the catalog publication production cycle is in a better position to then publish on time as well. So Karen, I thought perhaps maybe I would pause and see if any questions had come in that you would like to either answer or need to cycle back on.
We haven't had any questions yet. And I've encouraged folks to post any questions in the chat if they have any. Can you go ahead and post your question in the chat, and then we can move on from there. So Shari, you can continue.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to show over here, since my hope is that folks on the line today will be creating proposals that are not only program proposals, but also course proposals. Again, how I say everything rolls into this master approval screen. If I was a faculty member, there's a good chance that there might be some course change proposals in my queue from time to time, along with program changes as well. Now, although this looks like one system, the benefit of the workshops that Karen has laid out is that it breaks down from an end user perspective the training necessary to complete course proposals and program proposals. So that's just curriculum development generation. What's nice, because of our solutions integrated, everything intersects into this centralized dashboard for you, where you can then do your either editing, rollback, or approval. All of these changes also roll up into a master console where your administrative team, Karen and her team, can see all the different moving parts of course proposals and program proposals in a holistic view, so that the proposal creation to approval oversight is also much easier to manage as well. That's all I really had to talk about at this point, Karen. Let me know if I missed anything that you wanted me to touch upon. I'm happy to cycle back.
No, I think that you've answered, at least from my perspective, but remember, I've been knee deep in this, so it seems like you've answered it. I mean, one of the questions we did have was modifying the workflow, and I responded in the chat that that's something that we can do, but we can discuss it further if there their needs that we see that we want to incorporate into the workflow. So maybe if you can speak a little bit to if we wanted to modify the overall workflow, is that something that's possible?
Of course. So to start off, we talked earlier about how, curriculum development is managing change. And part of that change, in many cases, whether it's now or in the future, could be, in fact, changing what's required for workflow. And there are a number of changes that Courseleaf administrators can implement on their own. And then there are, or could be, some workflow changes that we would implement as part of your support services with us. But yes, workflow is configurable. In some cases, specific departments may have a different need. So there are opportunities for tweaking the workflow to meet the institution's needs, as well as perhaps some of the unique needs of a particular department or for a particular degree. But yes, and we see that quite a bit, really over the life of using Courseleaf. Your needs will change subtly, and we're here to support you long-term with meeting those needs.
And to add a little bit more context to that response as well, the workflow or some of the fields on there, they're dynamic as well. So for instance, if we determined we want a new program proposal to go through a slightly modified workflow, we also have the ability to do that. So it's very dynamic, and we can modify it to as much as we can to fit our needs without being too boutique for individual programs, because whatever workflows we have, we want to make sure that it's applicable to the whole rather than just individual needs of a particular pathway or program. And so we have a question that when our programs bring forward course changes, do they enter them in CIM courses or CIM programs? That's the first part of the question.
And that would be in CIM courses. And
so not changing, well, okay, so if you want to change the course itself, that's in CIM courses. But if they wanted to
correct.
change courses in a program, where would they do that?
Yes, and that was in that little, do you want me to go back and give a quick little demo of that, Karen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So I clicked edit the program. And so I'm going to scroll down to an area that shows what the list of courses are right now in this proposal. So this is already pre-populated. To change this, I would double click on it. And then for demonstration's sake, I'm just going to show you that this is going to be a completely different course. I'm going to take accounting and say, bring accounting over there. And I'm going to say, take introduction to criminology and get rid of it. And I'll do something to show you how well the integration is here. I'm just going to, put in a course that tells you I'm a football fan. And when I do so, it's saying, wait a second, you're trying to add something that doesn't exist here. So when I do that, you'll notice that I also am smart enough to say that this course currently doesn't exist, and you can see the change to the swapping of those two courses here. So this is if the list of courses already currently exists. If, let's say, I'm creating something brand new, I would use that little waffle that I showed earlier in the demonstration to say, okay, I am making a list of courses that are needed, and you'll be trained on this in more detail during those workshops. But what's so nice is that right at your fingertips across all different departments, you have not only what you might need for accounting, but I could go over and say, what are my courses in anthropology, and maybe I'm going to be musical in, some respect. All of the courses here, these are the courses that are active. And so it makes selecting the courses. And when we pull over the course, we're pulling over everything that we know about the course, the credits, depending upon the information that we're storing about the course. It's not just the subject and the number and then the title. It's kind of all being brought over. By clicking OK, you can then see how I created a brand new proposal here as well. And just as easy as it is to create one, I could highlight it and delete it. And that's how easy it is to get rid of it. So in this scenario, I showed you how I could pull up an existing list of courses, make some changes to it, attempt to create a course that might be a mistake. And Courseleaf was telling me that this course isn't found. And it might prompt me then to go back in and say, oh, that course is not the course I was thinking of. I was thinking of, applied biology course as an example. And then I can go in and update that accordingly. Then if I was done making the change, I would then scroll back down and I'd be able to save these changes, or depending upon where you are in the workflow, you'd be able to submit those into workflow. Did that answer that person's question, Karen?
If not, they'll let us know, but there's
Okay.
a second part to the question, and I think I'm going to make a stab at this one. The second part was if a pathway brings forward course changes that may affect other programs, will CIM alert users? When a change is made, and we reviewed this on the other demo, when you bring up a course, it shows the ecosystem of a course and all the programs they are in. Now, does it notify every single person or every single program it's involved in? We did not set it up that way because we didn't want to be in the position of over communicating with the community and then they start ignoring us, because we have some courses that are in all 170 something of our programs, and then people will start to get these multiple notifications that they might start ignoring. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't make an adjustment in the future, but for this first time, we didn't want to bombard folks with that type of information. So we will have to depend on what we do now, where the college community reviews the curriculum committee agenda, attend curriculum committee meetings, so that they can see what kind of changes that are being proposed. But again, we're open to how does CIM for programs or courses 2.0 look, and we can explore that. Oh, you were going to say something, Shari?
Yeah, I was just going to add to that, different schools have different business practices on this. And so to your point, you can continue to do what you're doing today, but the big difference would be is if I am participating in a curriculum committee meeting, I would be able to very easily go to either my course or my program management and look up courses that might relate to my department to actually see some of those changes in a granular degree without having that, email notification that you mentioned. So the idea of having two transparent kind of hubs, if you will, gives your committee participants a lot more information right at their fingertips to have a full view into what's already been changed. Now, keep in mind, if I'm not participating in the workflow and approval process, I'm not going to be able to go in here and make a change, but I could clearly see what changes have been made. along the way. And this approval path actually tells me who participated at which step in the process, which then could spark some of that internal cross-department collaboration, if you will. So you could continue as you are, but you do have more information right at your fingertips to make that overall process easier for you. I hope I was clear with that.
If not, they'll let us know in the chat. And so I think the last question that we have right now, it kind of ties into what you were saying about being able to track the types of changes.
Yes.
And I know you showed us the how you can track changes, but if you can go ahead and demonstrate again how we see changes, that would be helpful. And so you can look at it individually as Shari is looking that up. So do you mean, is there a comprehensive report that summarizes all changes? Because you can see track changes for courses and programs.
This is right, correctly. This is what's been added will appear in what we refer to as this green bold.
If you're sharing your track changes demonstration, we still just see the course list, sorry. The MVJ 1008.
May I ask my question? It's easier than typing. It's Christine.
Yes.
Go ahead.
While you're doing that, I guess I asked the question about will Kim be able to track the type of changes, because you answered my question. You said that if there's a course change in a career and tech ed program, AS degree, AAS degree, all the certificate programs, they're going to do a Kim course change. And it's so important that we can get like an overall holistic view at the end of the curriculum cycle and say, oh, of the 30 CTE programs that brought forward changes, only 20, they just modified courses. So, but these 10, they had substantive changes. One was a zip code change. 3 had credit changes that impacted courses. 4 more had course changes. And those changes are, it'd be wonderful if we could get like a annual change doc at the end of the year to kind of summarize substantive changes in CTE programs. That's why I guess I'm trying to wrap my head around, users going into Kim course, but, usually it's the CTE programs bring forward these changes about their courses from their programs. And I just was curious how like the finished product of tracking those type of changes would look like. I don't know if that helps.
So Christine, I'll answer that. I'll do part and then Shari can do it. What you're asking is kind of like a subjective kind of question. What classifies substantive? What classifies non-substantive? And so there are a lot of particulars that are being asked, and that is a discussion we probably will have to have offline, because I don't know if this tool, and maybe Shari can add to it, can talk about it, but those are value propositions you're asking for to ask the system to determine, oh, this is a substantive change. So I think we would need to talk more about that. I don't know if Shari has anything she can add to that.
Yeah, I'm just going to bring this up. So what typically happens is we don't know what you would refer to as a substantive change or a minor change, but in some cases that might dictate what type of workflow needs to follow. So on the form itself here, there are some things that are just standard that we've kind of built into the process. We don't have a way to say, if you change, what we sometimes get asked is if you change X% of the program, that constitutes a substantive
Gotcha.
change.
Well, is
Right.
it possible then that maybe that's the wrong, scratch that word, that was incorrect. What
Okay.
I'm looking for, it's at the end of the curriculum committee cycle, is there a way to find out, like, for CTE programs, I'm interested in any program that made a change that didn't, if they modified a course, that's fine. They just modified a course, but if they changed the credit on the course, if they switched courses, if they changed a program name, if there was
Yeah.
a zip code
Yep.
change, like that sort of stuff, would be valuable to
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. So once you start using Courseleaf, we're going to be keeping track of the history. So what you
Okay.
just talked about is the history.
Mm-hmm.
So think
Okay.
of when you go live, and this is an excellent point. I probably should have brought it up earlier, and I apologize. Every approved step within a proposal through the final proposal is leaving a little thumbprint inside CIM for both courses and programs. And you'll be able to review that history and have a historical view. So for example, maybe you want to know how many times in the last, X number of years something had changed. So that's more of like a historical view. But if you're looking to see what the changes are for an existing cycle, all of these changes kind of sit within, some reporting tools that we have that you can say, show me everything that's changed. And then if you wanted to mine specific fields like, credit changes or learning outcome changes or things like that, you'll have the ability to mine that data as well. So we're going to be keeping track of all that history for you. And then depending upon how you need to see that and how you plan to use that information, you may need to leverage some of our reporting tools. And your Courseleaf admin team, can talk to you about that, or through the history here as well.
Okay, thank you. And the only thing is, because you have a CIM course and a CIM program, and you're entering the changes in CIM course, is there a way to, like, when they make those changes, is there a way that will it say, like, automatically, will it align to the aligned and assigned, that course is assigned to, like, which programs? ? I'm just, because right now we're just making those changes, it's manual. We've got to go through Tiffany's got to review the memos and the board of transmittal memos, and then we've got to look and see, what type of changes happened within the program for the year. But if these are just course changes, I don't know. I think I just need to see the course CIM webinar, and then maybe I can ask some better questions.
I was going to
Okay.
suggest you review the courses demo because it shows you the ecosystem of courses when things have been changed. So may I recommend, I dropped the link in the chat, and also we're going to have workshops that will get into more detail on how to do things. This was just an overview to let folks see the system, to get their appetites wet for it, and to sign up for our workshops. And we will be more than happy to have further discussions about what are the reporting requirements for the area, because there is the capability to run reports. So if you need things that some of these reports, because it's field-based, then maybe we'll create a specific report for your area that can then the advisors or whomever can pull those reports on their own to look up the information. But that's something that we would need to discuss outside of this so we can look at what the reporting needs are.
Great.
Thank you. And I'll just kind of summarize that for program management. When we expect a change, it could be a change in not only the courses itself that are required, or even credits and things like that. So within the program proposal, there's a lot of moving parts. And in some cases, you may be swapping a current course for an existing course, but there might be cases when you're proposing a brand new program. That brand new program may include a combination of both existing courses, and maybe you're proposing a couple of new courses within that new program as well. And so part of the workshop training will talk more about how to do that as well. And I'm guessing that was maybe the second part of your question, with how all the different new and existing courses and the changes to them kind of intersect.
So we have about 5 minutes left, and I wanted to go over our training just so that we can then, so folks, if they want to stay on, they can, but I just wanted to go over this before we run out of time. But if you go to the Curriculum Services website through Connect, you go to Academic Resources, Curriculum Services, and then you click Workshops, Trainings, and Tutorials. It explains to you how you can sign up for one of the workshops in Workday, but we also have a list of our workshops. They're all virtual, and it tells you the title. It gives you the description of the focus of that course. And so I just want to let you know, if you are a program manager and you're here because of programs, I want to please encourage you to take the courses workshop first. If you start with programs, a lot of what we talk about may not make sense to you. And so it's really, really, really important you do courses first, because jumping in programs will be kind of foggy. Additionally, we have workshops specifically for 5-year courses. Now, the thing about this particular workshop is that, yes, we can show you how to review a course for the 5-year course review in the system. That's not a big deal. What we'll also cover in that workshop is what qualifies as a 5-year course review, all of the questions that we typically get about it. And so we'll have workshops beginning Monday, December 11th, all the way through March 29th, because at that point, the curriculum cycle will be pretty much over to input any new courses, and then we start a new year. But please visit our Curriculum Services website to see our workshop trainings, or either go into My Learning in Workday, and then you can go to Browse Learning Content and look up CIM, C-I-M. So I just wanted to throw that out there very quickly, and we can be open to more questions, or if Shari has anything she wants to share with us.
I was just going to say thank you to you, and thank you to the folks on the line, and that I hope this was helpful as a first step before signing up for the training workshops.
So thank you, everyone. Like I said, we have 2 more minutes. I just want to throw that in there before we get any more questions. But if not, I look forward to seeing you at the workshop. This chat will remain open unless you decide to leave the chat. So even as we are going along, if you think you have a question that's good for everybody in the chat, please go ahead and post it here. If you want to see the recording, it will also be in this chat, and we'll also upload it to the website. So for your faculty, staff, administrators, you can either direct them to this chat or to our website, and they can just click on the link. And once this is over, we'll put the recording here. I thank you, Associate Dean King. And I look forward to working with everyone. Thank you so much, Shari. As always, you've been wonderful, and we look forward to seeing everyone. And please have a safe, relaxing, healthy, not so healthy Thanksgiving break.
Yes, to you as well. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.